Hey guys, so it sounded like we're having some audio issues, so I'm actually going to do this workshop live instead of pre-taped. I'm actually just going to do it off my cell phone for you guys to see how easy it is that you can actually film on your cell phone. And I gotta go turn off the volume on my computer because I forgot that I left it on. I'm just going to do it off my cell phone for you guys to see. So we're going to talk about how to film on your cell phone and how to take good pictures also on your cell phone. So one of the first things that you need to learn and make sure you do all the time, which is what I did in the video at the beginning and I did right before I came live, is to clean my lenses. I clean both my front and back lens of my camera. So then you get a clearer picture. You don't have to worry about actually having any kind of blurriness onto your photos then or your video. So that's something that you should pay attention to right before you hit your record button. And guys, please bear with me. I don't do selfie mode a lot, so this is kind of new for me for the selfie mode. And yeah. So that's one big thing, is to clean your lens. A few other ideas that you need to think about is, what platform are you going to be shooting on? Today we're shooting on Facebook Live, YouTube, and with those you can actually do a horizontal, which, yeah, it's here. A horizontal, which is going to give you more of a broadcast feel and television feel because it's going to be a 16:9. If you're doing a TikTok or a Instagram story, Facebook story, any of those, vertical, which is what I'll be using today for the most part, will be great for those because then you can actually fill up the whole screen of your phone and you don't have to worry about any of that. One of the things that, if you haven't noticed the light behind me, I've actually set up a few lighting different settings for everyone, and that is because lighting is important, and I want to show you guys that you don't need to have studio lights to actually be able to have good lighting. In this setup that I have, I do have more of a studio lights, and let's see. Oh, I cannot turn my camera around. All right, so bear with me here. In this setting, I'm going to show you these lights, and hopefully you guys can see them because I'm going to do it this way. So this light up here is going to be more of your hair light or your headlights, and it kind of just pops your subject, aka me, out of the background so you can see a little bit more depth to your footage. And over here, as I turn, you'll see two big lights over here. These are my LED panel lights that I use for pretty even lighting. And then I have a small little Duracell emergency light on the couch, which looks like this. Looks like this. I got 3 of them for like 20 bucks, and that is so I can show you guys more of my bookcase, because everything in my bookcase is pretty much black, and as you see, I wear black, so I gotta figure out ways to actually stand out of my backgrounds when it comes to stuff like that. Another setting I can show you guys is what I was going to do for our Q&A when the video finished, and that would be a 2-light setup. I just turned off my headlight so you guys can actually see what 2 lights can do. I have 2 lamps literally sitting at my kitchen table, so you don't have to have a ton of light to actually get decent lighting onto your face. And so I'm going to try and show you guys those 2 lighting setups. One has a cloth over it, and that was because it was a little too bright on my face. So this is the one with the sheer cloth. that has been backed up a little bit more, so it's more flattering on my face and not a harsh light. As you can see, there's some highlights on my forehead and on my cheeks. So you guys can see that there is still some harshness to this light, but with that cloth, you can actually minimize it a little bit. And then I have a nice little lamp to fill in the rest of what that key light, that main light that has the cloth over it. So that's one setting that you guys can do without even having studio lights. So I'm going to turn off the studio lights so you can see one more setting that I have set up for you guys. And that would be a one light and a window. And this is actually pretty cool, but one of the things you have to realize is that you have to pay attention to your color temperatures, because your blue is going to be more of a sunlight. As you can kind of see, I already have two different lighting colors. There we go. On my face, and that is because sunlight is a little bit more blue and indoor lighting is actually a little bit more yellow. So when it comes to something like that, that's something you should be keep in mind. So when I do something like this, I tend to face a little bit more towards the window, so you can get almost, let's see here, there we go. So you can get almost a full coverage with the window. You don't have to worry about too much about the light. And as you can see, I'm moving the light around a little bit on my left side, so you guys can see how positioning the light as well can give you a fuller look to having good lighting. So those are two very simple ways you can actually light yourself when you're actually doing any cell phone video. And I'm going back to turn my main setup on, and a few other lights so I can actually see what's going on in my apartment. So bear with me for a second. One of the reasons why we tried to do this tape was to cut out all the extra walking that you guys didn't need to see like that. So another thing, if you guys haven't noticed, I've been using headphones this whole time to talk to you guys, so you can actually have some audio to hear what's going on. And this is one of the ways to actually get good audio, is to make sure you have some kind of microphone system connected to your cell phone. So that is one of the things that I do. I also have something called a shotgun mic or a boom mic. So this is actually one of them. This is one that I have been using for probably about 10 years. I have one on my DSL setup as well to actually help capture audio, even if I'm using a whole mic system like a lavalier mic or something. And that is just to make sure I have good audio each time I record something, because a lot more people will give crappy phone video, while crappy sound people will more than likely not tune into what you're actually doing and talking about. So then you don't get your points across, unfortunately. So that's one of the things to keep in mind. I saw a question about any favorite apps to record. I tend to use Adobe Rush. I really like it, but there's a lot of other apps out there. Adobe Rush is pretty universal because it's both iOS and Android, Apple iOS and Android. Trying to think of any other apps that I used to use before I got Adobe. I cannot think of any. So that's my favorite app to use to make editing videos easier. I use Tool Wizard and Lightroom for photo editing, if that helps. And both Lightroom and Tool Wizard should be free, and I think Adobe Rush is free as well. You just have to sign up and make an account for the Adobe stuff. I was prepared to have this actually be recorded and not have to worry about it. So that brings me on to my next idea, which is think about what you're going to record, what you're going to say, all that fun stuff before you shoot, and don't overthink it, because right now I'm totally overthinking everything I'm saying. So bear with me when I stumble and everything, because I did not follow on my rules and I did not think about everything that I should be saying today, because I thought it was going to be pre-recorded. But that's okay. That's how live television works. You don't always get to go with what you plan. So, and as you can see, since I'm only doing a handheld, it's not as stable as it should be. And if I was prepared and thought about this, I actually would have put my phone on a tripod with a cell phone holder. This is the cell phone holder. Give me a second, as I can totally do this backwards. Cell phone holder. To create a more stable environment instead of my shaky hand. And another thing that I like to use to keep stuff stable is a stabilizer, which is probably what I would have used, to be all honest, on this shoot. I'm reading a few more questions, so give me 1 second. So to best transfer cell phone videos from your phone, I would suggest using a cloud. So I tend to use a bit more Google Photos since I'm on Android. A lot of people, is it AirDrop for Apple? I think it's AirDrop for Apple will do that, or just upload it to your iCloud. There's Dropbox. There's a lot of cloud-based places that you could do. You can even do Facebook Messenger and send it to the people that you need to send it to, and they can download it off the Messenger and keep it onto their computer. And that's how we actually do a lot of sharing when, since I'm Android and a lot of my coworkers are actually Apple users, we actually do a lot of Facebook Messenger or Dropbox, so everyone can actually see what's going on. And it won't compress the video quality as much as texting will. Texting will completely compress your video quality, and it will make it look very, very bad, in my opinion. Someone asked, does using soft white bulbs help keep harsh lighting? Using soft white bulbs does help with working with hard lighting, because if you soften the light, the more likely it's going to be more of a glow than it is a harsh light. Right now, I think I have both my LEDs on high, but I'm quite a bit back from them. So you can actually see how it is a nice lighting on my face. And when it comes to something like that and you still have too harsh, you can always use something that is called a softbox. A softbox is literally a huge diffuser that you can use that will spread the light out, and it won't pinpoint your lights when it comes to any type of lighting. Someone wrote, how much video do you record versus how much final footage do you end up with when you edit? Um, that is really a personal question, because some people will plan all their shots out, have everything planned out, and do storyboards and scripting and only get the shots that they want. So sometimes recording and editing together are exactly the same. For me, I tend to record a lot more than what I need, because then I can pick and choose what I'm looking for, what feels better, which leads me into another point, which is when you're filming something, you do not want to have one shot. Right now, I'm only doing one shot. And with those shots, you can change your angles, you can change the lengths of them, and you can basically change the feel of how your video is going to look. So if I go up here, this is a high angle. A high angle tends to make the subject in the footage feel smaller to the viewer, while if you go down here, which to me is a horrible angle from arm length, this is a low angle, and this will give you more of a heroic feel when it comes to your shots. So you want to vary your shots and your shot lengths to change how your video feels. As you would look at an action film, a lot of their shots, especially in the fight sequence, will be quick and have tons of different angles to show you everything that's happening, and that will change the feel of your movie. While if you look at a drama would have longer shots with fewer angles to show more dramaticness of each feel. I understand the 12. Yes, looking at Becky's question about the iPhone 12 is awesome for content creating. A lot of the newer cell phones have wonderful quality. I'm shooting on a Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, which only goes up to a UHD 1080 with 60 frames per second. But if you go to the new iPhone 12 or the new Samsung or a lot of the new phones that have cameras, they're going up to 8K instead of 4K now. And you want to shoot on your highest quality for your cell phones. That way, when you get into your editing process, whether it's on your phone or on your computer, you can actually have good quality if you're going to show this on something other than social media. So broadcasting or movie theaters or something like that, you can totally film a whole movie or show on your phone. Just make sure you have the right quality so you can get those passes to actually be able to show your footage on TV or on a movie theater screen or something like that, which is why you want to look to see what your footage quality is. So right now I'm shooting on a UHD, which is Ultra HD, and 30 frames per second. In my settings, I have HD, FHD, QHD, and UHD. And each one of those means something, I promise, and I'm about to tell you. HD is high definition, while FHD is full high definition, and QHD is quality high definition, and then UHD is ultra high definition. So that is a great point to point out, is a lot of these newer phones have great quality that you can actually do everything off your own phone. When it comes to streaming live, I don't do a lot of streaming live, but I tend to Sorry about that. I'm learning this technology as I go because I don't do a lot of streaming live per se by myself. I do a lot more studio streaming live. So that kind of changes everything. When I stream live right now, I tend to do Facebook or Instagram and just go through their own apps. I don't have anything where I stream to multiple different platforms right now. Today we're using StreamYard, and StreamYard is pretty cool because it's allowing us to stream to both Facebook and YouTube right now. So there's that. And I'm keeping an eye in the corner of my phone because I'm worried about my battery life. So I wanted to be prepared, and on my lovely little table of stuff I was going to show you guys, I have a few battery packs because I'm always afraid my phone is going to die, and it kind of stinks when you have a shot that you really, really want, and then right before you take that shot, your phone dies. And that happens to me way, way, way too much. So that's one of the things you want to keep in mind, is to always have battery packs or a charger with you so you can actually make sure you get the shots that you would like. Because phones, when you pull up your camera and are recording a lot, it will use up your battery life like crazy. And one of the last few things I would like to leave you guys with when it comes to teaching this, I want to say just keep everything simple. Keep your audio simple, keep your shots simple. You don't need to have 20 aerial diving into the city shots in your actual films to make it good. You can have maybe 1 or 2 of those, but your film will look amazing if you keep everything simple, because that way you can see what's going on and all that fun stuff. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I needed to hit upon before I fully go into question and answer mode. So I'll just review the little tips and tricks one more time so you guys can keep them and hear them one more time. And that is to always, always clean your lens. Lighting is important. And if your lighting's too harsh and you don't have soft boxes or cloths to diffuse it or anything, you can always move your lighting forwards and move your subject back, which will change the way your light looks. If you guys can see the difference when I step forwards and backwards. Audio is super, super important. People will forgive lower quality video, but they will not forgive bad audio. So use headphones, use microphones, whatever you have at your disposal, use it to help create good sound. Make sure you're shooting on the highest quality for your phone. That way you can actually put it on multiple different platforms after you're done recording. So also think about what type of platforms you're using. Are you using social media? Is this going to go into a show? Is this going to go into a movie? Do you need to have it horizontal or do you need to have it vertical when it comes to shooting these things? Because a vertical video will not fill up a horizontal screen, and then you have a ton of dead space on either side of your video where you'll have kind of black bars. So that's why you want to shoot horizontal whenever you're already planning to put this on television or into a movie. Bring battery packs because your phone will die, and sometimes you find the best shot right before your phone dies. To think about what you're going to say on camera. Think about what you want to portray through your shots, through the angles. Basically think about everything that you want to do right before you shoot so you can actually get what you're looking for and what's in your head out onto your camera. Stabilizing is wonderful. You don't want all your films to look like Cloverfield, where the film is super, super shaky because it's all handheld, and some people will get sick from all the shakiness. I am a bad example today because I'm doing everything handheld, so keep that in mind. You can vary your shots and vary the lengths of your shots to change the feel of how your movie is going to feel and to keep it simple. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to talk to you guys about. Oh, yes, I do. So here's one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to shooting video and photos on your film or on your phone is when you digitally zoom. Do not do that. Your photos and your video will actually become a lot softer. You'll have noise and it won't look good. If you can, physically move closer to the actual subject, item, whatever you're photographing or videoing. Go closer to it so you can actually get a good shot of it. It won't come out fuzzy. It won't have soft edges or anything like that. So physically move closer. If you cannot do that, take your video or your photo at where you are at with the regular magnification. Do not zoom in or anything. And you can go in and crop later, which will give you less of the noise and less of the soft edges. So please, please, please do me a favor. And if you want good video and photos, do not zoom, physically move closer. And that is what I have left for you guys. Now actually answer any questions that I have not answered and keep your questions coming. I'm more than happy to answer them whenever you guys have them come up. Are there any situations at work you use cell phones and not cameras to shoot? My best example, while I'm going to go over to my table so I can actually have more of a stable shot. My best example is we shot Jake Hoot last year at a concert, and I switched between having a gimbal and a DSLR and my cell phone. I actually used my cell phone footage quite a bit, so you could get a wider shot without actually having to be far away. So yes, I do use my cell phone and not DSLRs at work every once in a while where I do shoot. Another situation I could think of is probably when you have someone in a small room and you can't get a camera in there, you'll tend to shoot with your cell phone and not a camera. How well do attachable lenses work on cell phones? Sorry, I keep hitting the wrong button, guys. When it comes to attachable lenses for your cell phones and everything, it really depends on the type of lens. Some cell phones or some companies make great cell phone attachments. The ones that are usually like 19, 10 bucks, maybe $5. Those usually aren't the best, or at least the ones that I have tried, mainly because they tend to have a cropped look to them because it won't take your whole lens. It will have like a circle around it because the lens is too big or too small for your camera, and that changes the way your photos look because either you have a vintage circle cropping half of what you want, or you don't have a lens at all. So sometimes those attachable lenses work, but in my experience, a lot of the cheaper ones, because I can't buy expensive ones yet, still paying off student loans and all that, so I'm a little poor to buy the expensive lenses to see if those would work with your cell phone well. But I've heard that the amorphic lenses will work really well with your cell phones. Are there any other questions that people have? I'm gonna go through here and see what else I can. Let's see if I haven't answered any questions. We'll revisit the apps question. I personally tend to use a lot more Adobe when it comes to any type of editing app, mainly because I have Adobe at home. I can go from my computer to my phone and back from my phone to my computer when it comes to editing anything on that. But you don't have to be using Adobe. One of the other, at least photo editing I use, is Tool Wizard, and I like that app a lot. There's a few other apps that I've tried when it comes to video editing on your phone. I personally prefer editing on my computer. I can do a lot more when it comes to that, and I don't have as small of a screen to work off of. So that's one of the reasons why I like Adobe Rush. I can throw everything into Adobe Rush real quick and do some quick editings if I need to, but I can also bring it up to my computer where I can do a lot more in-depth editing, which is what I tend to do when it comes to videos and everything like that. So but it's really personal preference when it comes to apps. I tend to try and give people free apps and videos, free apps, so you can do video editing and photo editing when it comes to something like that. When in doubt, if you think your lighting's too harsh and you don't have anything to cover it, you can always back away from your lighting to create a more softer feel. A lot of the lights nowadays tend to be more of a floodlight, which means it spreads the light out instead of a spotlight, which directs your light to whatever you're pointing it at. So when it comes to a floodlight, just step further away and you have a better and cleaner light without having any highlighting when it comes to something like that. If I have an option, do I prefer indoor filming or outdoor filming? Both have their advantages and their disadvantages. I really like both because of their advantages, to be realistic. When it comes to indoor lighting, you get to control literally everything. You don't have to worry about rain. You don't have to worry about if the sun goes down at what time and all that fun stuff, while outdoor lighting is a lot more seamless. As long as you don't shoot at noon, it's softer. You don't have to have many lights in your house on or your studio on, which helps save on electricity if you are a low budget filming. Speaking of low budget filming, there's a lot of different ways you can get into low budget filming. As you guys saw today, I have lamps all over my apartment to get good lighting. I've seen work lights being used on low budget films. And to be all honest, and this is going to get a little wonky for a second, so bear with me. You can actually create kind of your own sound booths in your apartment without even having to leave. So in certain areas of my house, it's super echoey. I have my furnace on, I have my air purifier on, I have my refrigerator on, and it can create a lot of noise without you actually realizing it. So one of the things you can do is go under blankets, which I have created one in my laundry room to show you guys a little bit. So I'm going to shut that door so you guys can hear that without the air purifier, the computer, the fridge, there's a little bit more space and you can hear my voice better. But the best way to do it is to go under a blanket. And being in a blanket fort will help dampen the sound a little bit, and you can have almost sound quality booth audio without even leaving your apartment. If you don't really want to go under a blanket, I will show you my favorite spot when it comes to actually filming voiceovers. And I have done this literally like last week because we needed a voiceover, and right now we're working from home for a lot of our stuff, so we couldn't go into the studio and do voiceover work in our small little sound booth. I'm in my closet right now, and one of the things while taping this original segment, I realized I like sitting on the floor to record my sound. I don't know why that is, and I like hiding under things. So I am actually going to sit down in my closet and go in here. And since I don't have a lot of lights, I'm not going to close this, but I usually close the close up a little bit. And if you can hear my voice a little bit is clearer and damper, so you can actually hear everything that's going on. You don't hear a lot of background noise when it comes to that. So those are two places that I actually do a lot of voiceover work if I need to do voiceover work. So that's one of the ways you can get sound quality without even leaving your apartment. As Misty says, yeah, it can be kind of an obvious change to sound without even you realizing it. So that's another tip and trick. And if I had a DSLR that I could hook up to my computer or something, I would show you guys one other cool trick. So if once COVID is done, you can go to concerts or go to music festivals or whatever, and you're shooting for your favorite band or a really cool musical experience that you're seeing, but the audio is super, super loud, and you know that when you do a playback, it will overmodulate your speakers or overmodulate your phone speakers, and you guys will know that sound. I'm not good at describing it, but there are two microphones on your phone, one at the top and one at the bottom. If you cover both those microphones, that will give you a little bit clearer sound when something is overmodulating, and it won't overmodulate on your playback. So I tend to do that when I'm in a concert venue or something like that to get clear sound. It will sound a little bit muffled, but it's better than having overmodulated sound, in my opinion. I'm glad I'm not the only one who uses my closet when it comes to doing voiceovers. Where do I look for unique sounds for my video? Well, when it comes to that stuff, I always have to make sure that it's royalty free and what the copyright laws are for it. So if it's a Creative Commons copyright for commercial use or if it's for personal use, that is a big thing, is you got to know what type of copyright it is and what the royalty is. So a lot of my music I take from the YouTube audio library right now, and look for the no attribution required, since a lot of the music I use is for promos or something like that. There is a wonderful sound effects library that I've been using since college, and it is royalty free. And I'm trying to remember the website off the top of my head, so I am trying to think of it. It is sound, or I think it's sfx.uk. Sorry, I'm trying to look it up right now so I can give you guys the right web address. Sorry, it is free, freesfx.co.uk. All you have to do is create an account. They have a lot of royalty-free and copyright, Creative Commons licensing, so you can actually use those in not only your personal, but you can use them in commercial kind of videos. So that's really cool. I really like that. What can you do to compensate for outdoor noises or traffic? Thank you for asking that question, Misty. One of my favorite things is a windscreen, but when I was taught the name of this, it was called a dead cat. And I'm not lying on that. I literally had people tell me about dead cat. And it is, I'm not going to be able to put it on my microphone because I need two hands for that, but it is literally this lovely thing. And it slides straight onto a boom mic like this. Oh, and there's my lovely lens cloth. And you kind of just slide that on and it will help eliminate more of that wind noise that you have. My best advice is to try and record when there is no wind or traffic, because then you'll get the cleanest sound. If you cannot do that, you can eliminate some of it in post. You just need to have about 30 seconds of that noise. So if it's traffic driving by, get 30 seconds of traffic driving by. If it's the wind, get 30 seconds of just the wind. And you can either do a sound removal when it comes to that, or you can invert the sound for it. And that usually will help take care a little bit of the sound problems that you have when it comes to outdoor shooting. Like I said, the cleanest sound that you can get when you first originally record is the best that you can do, because then you don't have to worry about trying to fix it in post, because sometimes it won't work in post, but a lot of the times it will. When it comes to shooting outside when you have wind or traffic, but having a windscreen, or as I call it, and as some other people call it, a dead cat, which again is that little fuzzy furry thing that you guys saw me lift up earlier, to have. Trying to think of any other questions you guys might have. For me, when it comes to different genres, depends on the different ways I shoot. If I'm going to do a fiction film, I'll tend to have a script and write out a storyboard, so then you actually know what's going on. If it's a documentary, I don't write my script until I'm done with having all my interviews done, because you might get something that you didn't expect to have before you had those interviews. Let's see here. Motionarray.com is a good place to get some royalty-free stuff. You just have to sign up for a free account, and you can get anything that's free in their free area. And that includes some music and some sound effects from them. Free sound effects.co.uk is a great one for free sound effects. The YouTube audio library is a good place. Since they have those on file, they will know that you're using their music if you put it on YouTube. Some places to get stock photos. My favorite place is called Pixabay, and that is Pixaby or BAY. They have a ton of stuff, and it's great to see all the artwork that they have and the photos that they have. And you can even donate to the artists who have put those out there for free for you guys to use on commercial use and everything like that. And then one last thing I will explain before I hang up, because I think this is the last, I'm not getting any more questions, is to explain what personal use and commercial use is. Personal use is something you're creating without any expectancy of getting money. So you're creating a family video for a wedding. You can throw in, I personally wouldn't recommend, but you can throw in copyrighted music for it, and you don't have to worry about it because you are not getting money for this video. When it comes to commercial use, it's any type of video, photo, artwork, music, whatever, and you are expecting to get paid for it. So anything on television is commercial use, or they have been paid to be able to use the music. So in car commercials or any type of commercial, you might know the song. They paid quite a bit of money for the ability to use that song. So it's a difference between commercial and personal, but I tend to go on the side of what you can do commercially in case I want to post it onto YouTube and monetize it, or I want to post it onto Instagram, and supposedly you can monetize on Instagram. So anything like that, I always make sure it's commercial free. I work in television. I make sure we have the right licensing for our stuff, because we have to have royalty-free licensing for all our stuff that we put on air that is not filmed or made by us. So any last questions when it comes to filming on your cell phone? Okay, I see not. So keep everything simple, have fun, and be imaginative. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you learned something and enjoyed this little workshop. Check our website out for all the other ones. They'll be just as good. All right. See you guys.